you are intending or planning or trying to do anything. I can't continue falling, and then we are dying. My eldest, youngest son is bleeding, and he's his voice started to differentiate. His breath is different. His heart is breathing difficulty. I can't bear this, and you will tell me. He told me frankly that our ambulances are unallowed to come. This is one. Only the Red Cross ambulances are allowed to come. Second, the Red Cross ambulances needs pre-coordination with the Israeli forces. Third, they couldn't get the coordination from the Israeli soldiers. So we are waiting since they tell us, as they tell us that they got the coordination, they will come soon. But when you expect they will come soon, when you get the coordination, I don't know. So please, this is the last time I will not call you more.
So, again, and that's, that's one, again, and I keep saying this over and over again because these are not the exceptions. This is actually the reality. Many people had very similar experiences where they died because of a denial of access, medical access. In addition to the people that were killed, the medics themselves were attacked. 16 medics were killed and 25 were injured. And Physicians for Human Rights, an Israeli group, basically documented this, and this came out in their report. And they themselves said that all these people, all these medics that were killed and injured as they were providing services, they were trying to help the dead and the injured, as well as 8 hospitals and 26 primary care clinics that were destroyed. This here is a destroyed ambulance car, and I think there was 3 that were completely destroyed and 16 that were damaged. So I want to try to finish up because I know that just to provide people time for questions and answers. I'm not going to talk about this too much, but this idea that Israel warned civilians before their attacks. This was the only flyer that I found when I was there, and this guy's story. Majid Fateh Abdelaziz al-Najjar, he's one person who did receive a flyer. He left. But even though he left the place that he got the flyer at, he went to a safer area in Gaza. It didn't matter. A white phosphorus missile came crashing through the home that he was in. He was in a very civilian area. There was no fighting that was happening. But Israel started throwing white phosphorus missiles in the area. A white phosphorus missile came crashing through, and you can see the hole on the wall. It came through the roof into the wall. Basically hit his wife dead center in the chest. Hanan, she was killed instantly upon contact. And one thing he told me, he's like, I thought I had fled from death, but death followed me here. So even if they received warning, basically there was no place in Gaza that was safe. And there was no place to flee, there was no place to hide. The last thing I want to talk about is this idea of self-defense. Israel is acting in self-defense. The problem, again, there's multiple problems, this idea of self-defense. As an occupied people, there's a question of occupation. Where does occupation fit? If you're an occupied people, can an occupying state declare self-defense against an occupying people? That's the first question, and that's not a settled question. The second question that comes, if we put that aside, put that aside, self-defense. What does self-defense necessitate? It necessitates that it's defensive and it's necessary. So Israel's actions had to be defensive and they had to be necessary. And unfortunately, that was not the case. It's not necessary to kill 1,400 civilians, 1,400 Palestinians, over 50% of which are civilians. In addition, self-defense still has to follow the laws of war, meaning that your attacks have to be proportional and you have to distinguish between civilians and non-civilians. And again, as I talked about beforehand, that was not the case. Israel did not distinguish between civilians and non-civilians. they just carpet bombed, and they really just attacked anything that moved at that point. So I'm just going to end with some pictures that are photographs of basically just Gaza, looking at Gaza.
كل السفن الفتاة الجزر غرلوب نارات يكون ضيوف الظلم ببيوتنا والآية قلبك كمان مرة سر الضيوف اللي غرقوك فينا مكتوب لنا نضلنا نراب على أرضنا وعاد الوطن مين يهمهم مقاطين.
There was a lot of racist graffiti written all over the walls of Palestinian homes.
للنفس الصهيونية وصهيوني للنفس العربية يعني الممنوع الممنوع للمسموح الممنوع للمسموح لمكروه لأنه تلك الكياني معه مازال يمحي ألواني تاريخ ناس جدادي يغسل دماغ ولادي الضوء حاضر ما يمثلها جنسية زلم بالله ونشرب ميتها قلنا إنه إحنا من الشعب والشعب حسسنا إنه إحنا غرباء أنا غريب في بلادي. This is where the Simoni family used to live. The Absi family that where Israel hit, they said there was a tunnel there. These are the three voices. This is actually inside of a hospital. It was hit by white phosphorus. This man lost his home, was praying out in the open. You'll see some of the tents where they live now. This was a mosque. These are the tents. There's 50 people that are supposed to live in each of these tents. لكن احمد ربي متمسك براسي نبني خاين عربي الداخل 48 بدك على راسك احنا جذور فلسطين ضروري العمار.
Thank you, Reem, for that presentation. We're going to have 15 minutes for question and answers. If you do have a question, please come up to the mic. And remember to ask a question, refrain from making comments.
Thank you very much for coming here and giving this very informative and very important talk. Just a question real quick. You said you were at the congressional hearing a week ago or so, and I heard that you were planning to somehow force the American government to prevent the export of arms to Israel. Could you just give us how could it be achieved, and how can our campus help you out in this thing? Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm forcing the Congress to do anything. I don't think they can be forced to do anything. But one thing that we were at a congressional briefing that was hosted by Kucinich, and there was many congressional members there. One thing that, and I definitely know that this is a huge problem, and I know that Amnesty and Human Rights Watch and members of the State Department, there's a lot of people in DC who are very concerned about what happened in Gaza. And again, but the reality is, again, we live in a political system where nothing's going to happen unless you